site. But let's take a look at the map ends for this match, see where we're going to go, because I think you're right. This will have a lot to do with the actual overall outcome.
Yeah, Oregon and Coastline will get removed, as of course Oregon was played yesterday by EG, played against Rogue, and Spacestation played Noble, which is a pretty exciting game actually. A lot of red dots on Coastline, but there you go. That was the matchup last night. We'll get to play on Bank again, and oh boy, oh my. I really want to see how EG and Spacestation play this compared to C9 and Obey in the first match.
I'm sure there will be a lot of different strategies that will come onto Bank. As you can see, neither team has played here, so that means that they likely have a lot of things they haven't showed us yet, which is always exciting. Yeah, so Bank, a very open map. I know one that, pardon me, if you look back, Evil Geniuses are very fond of. They've always been a good Bank team, and I expect them to have a huge edge coming off of that map ban phase.
Yeah, I really want to see how we'll see Jackal plays into this map, as we saw a decent chunk of it in the first matchup. Community vote. Let's bring that up on the board, as we'll see EG is 79%, Draw for 5%, and Space Station for only 16%.
That's not very surprising.
No.
No,
not at all.
Well, we're talking about community favor, and Rogue and EG are, over these two matches are definitely the teams that are going to hold it.
Yeah.
And they've been around for the longest. They've got the most
pedigree.
Yeah, it is. It's the pedigree.
Well, there you go. EG in the lead, at least for you guys. I'll remind you that before every single one of our matches, we have that vote up on Twitter. So make sure to head over to @ESLRainbow6 and vote for the matchup coming up after this, our final matchup that will combine SK and Mouse Sports. So before that, our game is ready. Let's head into Bank, and we'll see who can cash this one out on game number 3 of the day here, play day number 7 of Pro League Season 8. Many numbers being thrown around, as of course this is Bank. We gotta do the math, and Space Station versus EG. EG will start with the ban phase on the defensive side starting off, but they're gonna ban the first attacker.
So how will they set the same thing we saw just earlier on Clubhouse. It's going to be a ban of the Habana. Interesting. Getting rid of Habana is going to aid the defense a lot on that basement for the same reason it aids the defense a lot on the basement for for Clubhouse. So I like this. I like this ban here from EG. Lion the follow-up for the attack. That one from Space Station, and they will also get rid of Pulse.
This is a very smart ban from Space Station. They know how strong Pulse is in general for EG, having Canadian on the team, but also how strong he is, especially on Bank when you're defending the downstairs. Same Mira being banned. So different bans that what we saw in our first matchup is, of course, both Pulse and Mira were in play, as well as the Habana in that first matchup.
So good bans across the board to counter specific people and players. Interesting. For me, it's kind of interesting that Space Station got rid of the Lion. I would have imagined if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Evil Geniuses.
Actually, Cav, no.
What?
It's not locked in just yet.
Okay, so there is a
Do it.
6-pick possibility here for EG, and here's the reason that it would make sense that he's going to be 6-picking. I want to believe he's going to play Cav because it'd be fun, but and it would be kind of like a little bit of spite, right? It's like, oh, you took my Pulse? Oh, I'll just go play Cav then. But at the same time, if you're going to play Cav, you're going to 6-pick into the Cav. So, like, there's no way you give that information away if you have the option to hide it.
But there we go. We're going to see Jackal being played by Shuttle. Of course, MP will bring in the Glass, so I'm very excited to see how those two are put together. As of course, Redeemer as on the Thermite. I see Glass, I see Thermite. For me, it's all about opening that server wall and just having the Glass looking on down, especially since there is no Mira.
And we have talked about this before. Glass has seen a damage nerf as of the last patch. He went from 85 damage per shot to 71 damage per shot. And he also saw his recoil get hit pretty heavily. So not as much of a laser beam as he once was. So not the best gun anymore, but still viable as he can see through smokes. I'm pretty sure as long as he can see through smokes, he'll still be a plate operator.
Yeah, I mean, he still has a PMM as well, so that's
which
is
is
a pocket sniper rifle.
One of the best pistols in the game, yeah, definitely. Absolutely vicious sidearm. Now, starting off this attack, it's going to be a clear from 4 onto the roamers. You can see Jackal going to be the operator of choice to do just that. Very efficient that they've brought him. It'll help them a lot for getting this top floor control. Now, once they have top floor control, it's pretty easy to take. You just have to start opening up those drop downs. But, oh, what's that? Hibana's been banned? That means you're limited in your options in terms of how many drop downs you can open. You can only get 2, and if you do get 2, you're not going to be able to get the server walls. So Spacestation has to pick and choose where they want to attack.
For me, it makes a lot of sense to open the one in office, just to contest into the server room, and have the second thermite charge to play against the server wall, so you can really use Rampy correctly on that glass. Damage done to Canadian as he's now downed, and he's just gonna get marked by the drones. Should be an easy finisher.
I really love the setup here from Evil Geniuses right now. You can see they've reinforced into drop downs on the top floor so they can roam a little bit heavier. And this is because they know, again, Hibana's banned. They banned Hibana. We talked in the past about how Evil Geniuses operator ban phases haven't been great, and this match in particular looks really good, and it might actually give them a huge advantage. But Young is going to be the first death. MVK will swiftly refrag, but Shuttle does the same onto Canadian, and MVK has been downed in Archive. So the strategy was nice, and I appreciate the way that Evil Geniuses executed it. However, it at least on the roam, didn't work out great for EG, and now Space Station has a whole minute to attack on the site with a 2-man advantage.
Yeah, sure, they lose out on the glass, but that is definitely not the end of the world, especially when the operators that are left for EG are not ops that really benefit you too much at the long-range fights. Now, the exothermic charges are still available, as the office hatch in the open area was pre-opened by EG to allow for rotations.
So they just opened up the server drop down, which means they cannot... What? Necrox inside of server, and it doesn't look like they were expecting this. Space Station will refrag immediately as Necrox tries to shoot all the way up the staircase with a shotgun. That's not going to happen, but he did manage to get 1 kill, helping his teammate out quite a lot. BC knows all of the attackers are coming from the server right now, and if he times the C4 perfectly, he could single-handedly clutch out the round, and here it comes.
10 seconds left.
We'll get the planter, so it's going to be a frag fest. One goes back to pick up that diffuser. The second, though, thinking nade inside of Red Hall will win the fight out. He comes out on top there, and Space Station will take the very first round.
A great round here from Space Station. I have to commend EG's try.
Yeah.
Because they did play the whole setup around, oh, Hibana's banned. We're just going to use that to our advantage.
See, what I love about it, too, is very specific. Conventionally, if you ban a Hibana, what do you want to do as a defender? You want to anchor more on the site because they can't open our drop downs, and that's true. Space Station didn't open the drop downs. Look at the server drop. That doesn't really count in this. And we're talking about the site drop, the red drop. This is what we're referring to. So they couldn't get the drop downs, but and so conventional wisdom says anchor harder on the site, and that actually, as it turns out, would have worked probably better for Evil Geniuses in this round. But EG was trying to outplay that idea. They were trying to maneuver around it, and they were trying to say, we'll do the unconventional, let's roam heavy and catch our opponents off guard. Unfortunately, Space Station had a really efficient roam clear, and so they did not get caught off guard.
Yeah, and had it worked though for EG, it would have destabilized Space Station to the game, because they're like, oh, they're already hunting us. That's going to really hurt their morale, but unfortunately for EG, that does not work, and Space Station end up getting the first round. Mind you, Pulse is still banned, so anchoring is not as effective as usual, or as is tradition for EG on this site. All the way downstairs, because you can't use the Pulse to detect things. You don't have that extra C4 to be put.
Yeah, Pulse isn't just a direct counter to Canadian or even just to Evil Geniuses, who are one of the better, Pulse teams and Pulse individuals out there, but it's also a direct counter to the defense of Bank, because you stick your Pulse inside of Vault, specifically over by the Cash Gold area, and he can see very clearly anyone inside of server. So lots of information gathering that's not going to happen for the defense, whether it be Evil Geniuses or Space Station, and they're going to supplement that with other operators such as Valkyrie.
You see Canadian yet again on the Vigil. He's done quite a bit of damage on that specific operator over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier actually, but after Canadian got rotated off the IGL role and just stuck on that pure and simple fragger role, Canadian has been just popping off. It really seems like he's a lot more comfortable, and he's been allowed to use his exceptional game sense and individual aim to give his team a lot of lead in many of the matches that they've been playing in the season. Now, in the first round, he couldn't do that. He was shut down early, but many more rounds to come.
All right. Well, who did they detect? Well, it's none of the two operators. They're waiting for them downstairs in the office or even in the archives or in the open area. And the shuttle opening things up here with the ITE on the Jackal, trying to use his Inox range. It's now been buffed to 8 meters instead of the 5 for the scan range. So you can scan from a floor above and still be relatively safe from harm. They will spot the rotation hole from the open area office into the archives, so they got to watch out for a player playing in there. Rampy opening up a hole up in the skylight, trying to find maybe somebody getting a bit too aggressive from the archives. Wall Young getting the information though from the camera. The Valkyrie being played upstairs, set by BC, and maybe there will be a point where Young will jump out and pounce as he's in the server room.
So this is great. He's playing at the bottom of the server stairs, so he's not exposed to the drop down right now, and he can support his teammate Canadian with a crossfire eventually once the attack comes. He also has information on the top of server stairs doorway, which means as soon as someone starts pressuring him from there, he can address that directly. And as an Ella, he's probably the perfect operator to do just that. His Gersmont will be detonated at the top of stairs and disorient the glass who will fall off of that. Rampy just going to be looking for his opportunity, but it's very dangerous for him to contest that Ella at any moment. Shuttle using smoke grenades to disorient his opponent. Rampy uses his own smoke grenades and will get the kill onto Young. Good play there from the Glaz on SSG. Shuttle's looking for the second frag, but thinking Nade's going to be the one to get it. And yet again, the external operators and players for Evil Geniuses have been dispatched with relative ease.
Yeah, that position there with the Ella is something that we see a lot in European play as well. Panics, especially from Mocket, loves to play that position. However, there's usually a lot more that is dedicated to that position, but there's 15 seconds left on the clock, and it means that Spacestation have to get the show on the road. You see the recoil there not helping at all with the glass. Necrox will get one on a shuttle. Thinking Nade, though, will get shut down. BC with the C4 onto Rampy, and Thinking Nade will try to push through into the gold vault. Trying to exchange fire against NVK with the RG-15. Diffuser set on the floor, but MVK clutches the round, taking down Spacestation that had no time left at the end, and that'll be EG. The 2 players left to get the round and tie it up 1-1.
So, Evil Geniuses went to the basement twice in a row, but what was the major difference? They had no roamers upstairs. They had some presence inside of server, and that did get pinched and executed pretty quickly once the execution actually came. But that only left the attackers with 30 seconds left because they were anticipating the heavy roam game that they saw from Evil Geniuses last time, and they spent a lot of time on those top 2 floors.
Yeah, one resource that we're focusing on more and more now is time. It is one of your...
TikTok.
TikTok. That time will keep going down, but you got to make the plays. It's very much your most valuable resource. Even having, these operators, grenades, etc., it doesn't matter when you don't have any time to actually execute and use your utility.
Isn't it weird that after having switched to a 5-5 format where 5 attacks, 5 defense, we see less efficient attacks in this season than we did in previous? I mean, it seems like things are really starting to slow down. And I'm struggling to find things to attribute it to. I mean, the operator ban phase does, in a way... Oh, you know what? That's what it is. It's not just the operator ban phase, it's some of the specific operators that get banned in that ban phase, like Lion, for example. Once Lion's off the board, you lose a lot of that lethality that you otherwise would have. And when you can make a defender stand still, when he's not able to roam dynamically, it's an easy frag, and you have so much confidence in yourself to be able to get that frag. More importantly, I mean, we're talking about, we got a Habana ban here, man, on a basement defense with no Habana. Are you kidding me? That means no drop downs are being opened up, which is funneling all the attackers into server. No matter what, that is a difficult mountain to scale. So I guess it makes sense in this match. And we've had a couple of stories similar to that in previous matches throughout the season. And usually when we don't see anything like that, any bans like that, the attacks are more efficient.
One thing I want to add to your point also is that because we're playing 5 attack, 5 defense, the defense will be able to learn of the ways of the attackers and adapt to that in the upcoming rounds. And if they can select the same site as before because they lost it, it's exactly like we saw here, they'll adapt and play better. And if that is very much the case, then you'll see ties like we have in here with a 1-1.
And that's exactly what we just witnessed from Evil Geniuses. I
Yep.
mean, they adapted. I talked about how the attack is forced into server because they don't have a Habana. Well, where were those roamers the second time around from Evil Geniuses? They were stacked up in server. They were just trying to delay as long as possible because they knew the attack had to go there. There were no other real options. I mean, first kill here for Chala onto Young as he attempts to sprint towards the hallway. Huh.
I think it was trying to drop from the hatch, but
Either way,
okay.
yeah, a little bit of a overextension there for the castle, and it's going to cost him and his team by extension. Evil Geniuses now have lost top floor control, it seems, and Space Station will make full use of it. They do not have a dedicated hard or soft destructor, but they do have the Zofia, the shuttle on Jackal, and technically Glaz can make some pretty good holes with his OTS.
Yeah, and of course, you know, we talked about the Buck. Jackal, yet again, we'll mention him. That ITA still does quite a bit of work on floorboards. It's not a replacement for the Buck, but I think if you have those like pre-planned positions where you open them up, where you usually would see those defenders anchored up in archives or in tellers, this is a great operator to have to use that ITA.
It's the difference between Buck's indiscriminate opening of the floor and you know, having those specific holes like you talked about. So, NVK, nice angle there onto Rampy, all the way from open area. We'll take out the Glaz. Chala refrags immediately onto Canadian, though. So, no even round or man count for EG until just now when MVK is able to hit the headshot on Redeemer. So both Glaz and Thermite eliminated, but Thermite's done his job in this round. And it looks like, what? Necrox wins that fight. Chala was supposed to take it, but it just didn't happen. Now Shuttle will refrag immediately onto that very same player, and the last two defenders are off-site. That's BC stuck inside of the elevators, and NVK moving over to open area. BC's going to have difficulty rotating out, but he finally will actually be able to do just that. NVK hits another crazy shot. That's 3 for him in the round, leaving Just Thinking Nade, the final attacker. But he's been able to plant the diffuser in a relatively safe spot. All he needs to do now is wait for about 40 seconds, and he will win this round. It's going to be a duo retake, though, between NVK and BC. BC has been healed up thanks to his Doc teammate. And this is going to be a lot easier because of that. He might see the barrel, actually, of Thinking Nade around the corner and go for the pre-fire. He does, but he loses it. NVK will not, however. And the, I believe, 4K clutch from NVK on Doc will come out.
Yet again, that was pretty impressive play.
Yeah, but
nice shot, Nate.
We gotta be honest, though. EG should not have won that round.
No, not at all.
Now, the only reason they won that round was thanks to some stellar gunplay from Nate, otherwise known as NVK.
But that's one thing we always talk about when we have the chance. That's not something you can rely on.
Exactly. And, you know, Nate is probably one of the top fraggers in North...
Yeah.
Not even probably. He is one of the top fraggers in North America. He's up there. And he does pop off from time to time, but it's an inconsistent thing. And the strategy there from Evil Geniuses did clearly not work out. Space Station got that top 4 control. They executed perfectly on the main lobby. They just started losing so much manpower along the way. And the real kicker is the first man they did lose was the Glaz, which opened them up for more refrag potential because there were no one-way engagements as there would be if they were able to use those smokes to their advantage.
Yeah, the angle from NVK is he just played the stairs for most of that round. Gets the angle immediately on the Glaz, and that's why you'll see that wall unreinforced, because you can use it to your advantage. And obviously having the floorboards destroyed means that a defender playing on the stairs from below will have the advantage against the attacker that is more likely to be looking into the archive passive tellers and not watching the rotation in the stairs.
So this is interesting. Evil Genius is going to open area kitchen rather than the top floor. And they're going to be doing that extension strategy where they hold on to tellers and archives as well as the actual open area. And the first time we saw this was actually, I think this season, and it was really awesome to see. I think it was Rogue who were the ones who brought it to us. but it has been a while since we've seen it played since.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
All right,
Attackers
well,
must locate and defuse the bomb.
Open area hasn't really worked out too well though for teams so far. I mean,
It's been a mixed bag. I'd say if you look at the actual side, it's probably like a 40% win rate on that.
I think it really does depend on Mira. When Mira is available, it makes things a lot easier. Though without it, it requires you to hold on to that top floor and onto the main hallway for so long that if you lose them, you kind of let go of your entire map control.
Well, the thing is, I mean, you're right in a way, but the way that the defense is being set up here by Evil Geniuses, they are going to be extended on that top floor and into the main hallway by virtue of holding on to Teller. So they have a lot of control over the most important things. The question really is, how efficiently can Space Station drone out these roamers and execute them? Now, you can see MVK is actually going to be contesting one player in the main lobby, and that's going to be Thinking Nade. It's a long angle, but with the MPX, he still manages to hit the headshot. Very impressively done. Young will also get shuttled, so we're talking about winning fights. It doesn't look like Space Station are droning efficiently enough, and they will lose fights because of that. Though a refrag immediately from Chala onto Young. And top floor now is at least inched away at for Space Station, and they're going to extend that, actually, as Canadian goes down yet again. On the roam. NVK also eliminated, and what was that? Just 3 in a row suddenly for Space Station after Evil Geniuses gave themselves a 2-man lead.
And now it's all up to BC and Necrox with 3 players available for Space Station. We'll see how... Oh, no, you can't lose that Yokai as well. Oh, that is a huge loss. The camera's going to get shot down onto the side. It's the Thermite.
I don't think he hit it. I think he hit the stud.
No, yeah, it's just the tiny angles you have to play around with the metal that is in the floor. But the Yokai loss definitely hurts BC. You should have another one to play around with. But Necros is going to try to play from the archives, and there's not enough man. Oh my God, Rampy, what a dirty shot here as he uses his OTS to take down the castle barricade. Necrox is holding the angle. He's the last man alive. He has one more impact to play with if need be. Smoke canister is going to get lobbed in as Rampy takes the damage, but eats it all up as he chews into Necrox. And that's Space Station to get the round.
So, it looked like a really bad start for Space Station. They weren't droning very efficiently. They lost 2 players, 2 roamers. And then immediately after, they were able to refrag those roamers and then some, just off of the information that they had gathered from their dead teammates. So that is telling of some good coordination with Space Station, but they could have had an easier round if all they had done was drone ahead. Either way, Evil Geniuses, I'm a little bit worried about them, to be honest. The way that they played that round after getting the lead, they started pressing the lead again, and we're talking about on defense. When you're on defense, you just need to kind of get as many kills as you can, fall off, and then go back to site.
All right, we'll see the 6th pick here. Maestro going to be brought up by Canadian. That's the Vigil being changed. And I guess EG want to play a bit more of a lockdown on the site play style compared to having that Vigil. Let's start the setup. Nothing out of the ordinary, as you can tell. We've seen so much Maestro play on CCTV. It's just...
So the way that Evil Geniuses have been defending this site so far, and they've done it twice. The first round, they went for a very, very heavy roam. They came all the way up to the top floor, and it ended up costing them. Their roamers, Evil Geniuses roamers in this match have not been very worth it. They haven't been getting the job done. The last round they seemingly put up a fight, but ended up losing regardless. And the second time they defended the bottom floor, they anchored a lot heavier. They, instead of roaming upstairs, chose to roam in server because they knew the attack would eventually come from server as a result of the Habana ban. This round, it seems like we're going to be going with that same philosophy. Roman server, you know the attackers have to take it, make them pay for it, and then the anchors can lock out the round. The Glass still being played from Space Station, and they've made pretty good use of it. Rampy seems to be really fond of this role.
I mean, the glass definitely has suffered in this patch, but as long as you can keep your crosshair on point, there's definitely a lot of work that can be done. Now, Chala's looking for a Valkyrie camera. Usually you'll see that set up right here on the... there you go. Thank you very much, Marcy. You'll see it right here set up inside of that shrubbery, right by the Knights Husseini. Bit of a reference there for people that got it, but Chala will come down on Thatcher, set up his Claymore in the open area, and just continue on to the droning as Thinking Nade will set up another Claymore.
Lots of Claymores to hold those flanks. Any potential push up from the stairs is going to at least be given away in terms of knowledge. And Space Station, the reason they're doing this, of course, they know there are no roamers upstairs, and they're just going to isolate those anchors, start applying the pressure, slowly tightening their grip. Now you have to start with server though, and I believe there might still be some, but yes, there are indeed players still in server. That's going to be Young behind the server stack. Very dangerous position to be playing, but if you're going to do it with any operator, it's going to be the Ela. Perfect really for this role. Rampy though might try to challenge with smoke, and if so, it's going to be an unwinnable fight for Young. He's going to try to take some bodies with him, but he will be unsuccessful. Thinking Nade wins that one outright. The sister clearly superior in that engagement will be Zofia. Now Thinking Nade going to deal with one of the evil eyes that has been placed inside of server using his grenade launcher. I like how it was so called out there, so many marks. You could
Hey, it's here, it's here.
You could see the comms. You could see like Thinking Nade going, "Hey, where's the evil eye?" and everyone starts marking it. But server control now for Space Station, and that's going to be a great beachhead for the start of their attack.
We'll see Rampy opening up here the barbed wire. The Thermite should have an extra charge here to play with. But now the question is, where do they set that up? Thinking Nade's trying to slow things down. And let's just go in for a quick plant as Rampy's trying to look through, and the recoil not helping with follow-up shots, but Shuttle has been able to get up close and personal. Necrox will go down as the Jackal hugs the wall. BC getting the shot on the side as Canadian sprays in. You hear that Sekmi coming in as the diffuser will get set on the floor for SSG. And now Thinking Nade can play from the top. The admin office hatch to his advantage. Turn it into a 3v1. BC, no nitro cell in hand, and a tight angle to play against. There's two attackers that are set up in a post-plant position upstairs. Redeemer downstairs. The drone will get shot down. BC trying to find the angle as he takes a bit of damage in the engagement. He'll win it again, Thinking Nade, and he might be able to rush up against the Thermite here, as no, Chala will finish him off from the Skylight hatch, and that'll be Space Station to put themselves up 3-2 at the end of this first half.
So they win the half. That is just not what anyone would expect to see in a Space Station VEG match. Well done to SSG.
Things are very much shaking up in North America, as is always the case, and I wonder if we're going to see Finka.
It's very possible. I mean, with the grenades, she does, become a little bit more viable, but I don't know. I still don't expect to see Finka played. Like I said, I think she's just like she's just a flawed operator for this format. When we're talking about like ranked or casual play, I understand where she would be really fun or help out teams a lot, but she does have that. In the recent post we saw from Ubisoft, she did have like a 6.5 win delta, which is
pretty
so much higher than anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned rank play and such. It makes sense why Fox would be playing her, right? But we'll get to
Kassan.
If there's anybody I like to fire shots on, it is Fox, especially when I'm nano boosted and have no recoil at all. But Space Station this time on the defense, and where will they go for the first round? Well, unsurprising, downstairs in CC2.
Yeah, so the reason that this is unsurprising is twofold. First, this is the default plan, or the default site for most teams. It's just the most thought out, most played site it's always been on Bang. Second, Habana's banned. No drop downs getting opened up. You got the Thermite, that's it. So there's not a whole lot of maneuverability for evil geniuses. Now here's the really scary thing. We did have Pulse Band as well and Mira, so the defense are hurting. But I have to say the attack are hurting more. Now, Evil Geniuses lost their half on attack, and coming off of that,
on the defense.
yeah. Now they're going And now they're going on to attack, and it's a little bit, it does not bode well for their chances in this match.
Especially if you look at that anchor setup from Space Station. You have a Maestro, an Echo, and a Smoke. That is a combo to shut down all aggressive plays.
Yeah, they do have a really good lineup. I think in terms of utility choices, Space Station have been on point today, especially with those Glaz plays. You know, a lot of teams have not been bringing Glaz lately, even though he hasn't been banned as much. And I think, honestly, maybe a little bit of an overreaction to the damage nerf and the recoil nerf. I mean, it's not entirely, I think he's not entirely out of the game, and Rampy really did use him well in this match today.
Yeah, there were a few engagements that were a bit iffy, but thanks to the rate of fire that he still has,
we all do it.
It happens to everyone. That's for sure. But going back to the Glaz, because of that rate of fire that he still has, you can still go for follow-up shots. It's just you're not going to be relying on follow-up shot accuracy. Instead, you're relying a lot more on that first shot accuracy, and you have to wait a second for the recoil to subside.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can be a little bit bumpy. You can see Evil Geniuses try and hunt down the roamers or any roamers that there might be. Although if they keep droning, they're going to realize the only roamer is Rampy, and he's already fallen back to the server stairs, so they're shooting at air. I'm sure they'll figure it out eventually, but the thing that really concerns me here is there's only a minute left, well, minute 15, and they're only now just starting to realize they have control. Redeemer putting a little bit of a few bullets onto metal detectors, but he's not going to land any on his opponent, NVK, nor will the opposite happen.
Yeah, just the NVK putting a few shots down to push the Maestro back. A bit of damage done from the goo mine as BC will rotate in. I assume he's going to try to push through from the sewers. There you go. To have that extra angle coming down onto the server.
Twice, huh? Jeez. 38 seconds left. And the Evil Geniuses don't seem to have a clear idea of when they want to attack from, but it looks like it's going to shape up to be server, actually. Rampy exposing himself to BC, not even peeking into him. That was a sidestep, an accident. And now server control off of that accident in Evil Genius's favor. With only 20 seconds, I don't know if it's going to matter. We've got those Echo Yokai drones in position to deny the defuse plant at any moment. The gas canisters are denying the server push quite a lot. BC's going to go for a rush, but be down in the process. Canadian also being lit up in the middle of the site. The Yokai drone will deny the first defuse plant, but the second Yokai drone's not in a position to do the follow-up, and it might be a successful plant, but no, a rush from the remaining SSG players and a rally. They will put themselves at 4-2 in their favor.
Definitely your warriors are rallying kind of moment there at the end, and they all run out the red hallway to dive onto the diffuser, realizing, okay, we can just shut it down before it becomes a post-plant position. And now EG find very much themselves on the back foot.
I really love the confidence in that call too. It was just like, hey, we know the diffuser's being planted. We know that we're on 5 seconds left in the round. Let's walk in and deny that diffuse plant, whether we have to, or even if we have to cost our lives. Or spend our lives. Either way, Space Station now in a decisive lead in this match, and they will be going on to Teller's Office Archives as the next bomb site. Now, we haven't seen them do anything other than the basement, so this is their second defensive round, so this could be one that favors Evil Geniuses for all we know. But if I'm looking at this just from what we've seen so far, I'm very worried for Evil Geniuses, I have to say. And I'm confused at my worry for Evil Geniuses quite a lot. It's not over by any stretch of the imagination. EG is the comeback team. They always have been. But they've been struggling. They've been struggling pretty heavily.
And so you can see the work being done by NVK here on the board. Whereas with Space Station, it's more even along the board. Everybody's putting in their part, and teamwork definitely shows. Is Chal going to be able to pick up his evil line?
He's going
Black
for
Eye?
it.
No, can't get that. So he's going to have to set up the last two in another spot.
10 seconds to insertion.
We haven't seen that crafty position up on the
5 seconds to
boost for the evil line. You know, coming in from the hallway. But
attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Redeemer will move
Attackers
back
are heading out
into
to the
A. He's got barbed wire, no shield in play for him. There's no castle, so they're just gonna have to bar up those windows with standard wood 2x4s. And Zofia setting up claymores just in case there's a run out. And oh my God, we've seen quite a few run outs in this site.
Yeah.
Some that lasted for way too long.
Sometimes it's really a map that or a site that you need to be kind of aggressive on. If you're roaming up top especially, but it doesn't look like Space Station are doing that. They're going to be mostly on the site, slightly horizontal roaming, but no vertical roam whatsoever. Nothing in the top floor, and that's different than what I would expect on this site. It's different from what we've been seeing from Evil Geniuses, and you can see they're just mainly focused on the open area.
And Jackal here, NVK, in the hallway, goes back on the drone, and just checks the open area. Should be able to spot the Jaeger. There we go, that's all he needs.
So if Evil Geniuses are able to discover and isolate these Space Station roamers, the crazy thing about it is that they're probably not going to get the kill. Because, as you can see, Rampy is roaming, sure, yeah, but he's right next to the drop-down. At any moment, he can fall into the basement and waste more time. Although, I have to say, I'm a little confused at why NVK isn't opening up these drops. You know, you have the position, you have the ability to apply the pressure, but he is at least going to detect the Valkyrie and the Valkyrie cam at the top of the skylight stairs. Although Valkyrie receives that detection, interprets it, and decides to fall way off.
It's very intelligent, and it does waste time, but there is plenty of that still in the back pocket of EG with a minute on the clock. See the reinforced wall where defenders of Space Station are playing from behind. Legion here in a bit of a ballsy position. Canadian trying to find the angle and cannot connect. A lot of damage done to Shuttle in the back of the archives, but he is still alive nonetheless. Can't really chuck out his gas canisters, and especially now that he is dead. Couldn't really have thrown him in because of the Legion being so up close and personal. BC still scanning in. He doesn't spot the SMG from the Legion.
This is a great position for Legion with only 25 seconds left. He could be the linchpin for Space Station to get this victory, especially considering how heavily the Evil Geniuses are attacking from the main lobby. But they will get their second kill. NVK onto Chala. The Legion traps really slowing things down. NVK gets another onto Rampy. It's all falling on to Thinking Nade right now. He's going to get one, but not another. BC able to refrag immediately. Redeemer, the last defender, not going to be in a position to deny the defuse plant, so he will have to retake against 4 attackers, and he won't even get one. Canadian from above shuts him down, and Evil Geniuses take their first attack round.
Finally happens there, and the Legion, credit where credit is due. It's just so calm and collected, I have to say. It would have been, if it would have been any other Legion player there, you would have seen a run out many moons ago.
I don't know if his being calm was the right call though in that situation. I agree, you know, he deserves praise for it, but imagine he peeks out into the player who's holding his doorway. That player's not expecting the peek.
Especially spilling out the goal mine.
Right. So he could probably get that victory, thinking gets himself one kill. There's only one player on his door. Now he has a little bit of cover. The call out will come from Evil Geniuses that there's someone pushing the teller's door, but he doesn't have to engage them directly immediately because he's got that cover of the actual teller's wall itself. Then he could push up wide into tellers where there are no Evil Geniuses players and get a wide flank on any potential EG players pushing in through the other teller's door. More importantly, he was in no position to deny the defuse plant over on the far side of tellers. So ultimately, his position, while patient and while cool to see him play the way he did, didn't really help.
Now, the important thing is that if Space Station can take this round, they put themselves on map point, or match point, which means they guarantee at least 1 point, and they would have taken that three-pointer away from EG and pretty much guaranteeing Rogue's second position on the board.
You know, I've talked about this before. The difference between a good pro player and a great pro player. A good pro player is given a job and is able to fulfill that job without making mistakes. A great pro player, it does the same, but also makes plays when he sees opportunities to do so. And I would have liked to see Thinking Nade try to make a play there. I mean, he needed to salvage the round because his teammates were falling apart, and there was no one else who was in a position to do anything about it. Oh, either way, it's done now. And Thinking Nate is top fragging for his team. He's having a great match right now.
Yeah, definitely the case. And NVK on the other side of the coin for EG, definitely putting in the work, as has come to be expected. I guess, after his career so far.
MVK again, definitely one of the top fraggers in North America, and like you said, he's got that notoriety. He's got that reputation, and
Hot and Cold has given him a run for his money, but
recently, yeah, especially. Hot and Colds, though, I mean, he's the sort of guy who he has his matches, and then he has matches where he gets your normal amount of frags.
And matches where he absolutely destroys opponents, like last night.
Hotton has matches where you question, can someone really be that good?
He is hot and cold.
Yeah, he's defined by his name.
Yeah, very much the case.
So, Evil Geniuses currently losing this match, but they did manage to get that last round when they attacked onto the tellers. As a result, Spacestation have decided to go to CEO as their next bomb site. NVK, though, reading this very well, will just rush his way into the main lobby and has great position to apply pressure to these defenders now. It doesn't look like anyone from Spacestation is paying attention to this push.
I see the Evil Eye that was set up there on the reinforced wall. Unfortunately, not really timed well to take it out. Redeemer will get flashed in the back as NVK will put one more on the board, taking down Redeemer, not even having to worry about Maestro, but Thinking Nate goes in for one as Young comes in, gets the refrag. It's now the castle eliminated, and there's no impact grenades to get thrown into the thermite. MVK will get one more onto shuttle, rotating away. Chala on the stairs, Rampy, the Jaeger, the site. Chala will get one on Young to turn it into 2v3. NVK still moving in. The Fuser's on the floor with 50 seconds on the clock as Chala remaneuvers and puts himself in the stock/trading hallway. BC along the outside, they'll try to maneuver their diffuser into the site. Does Chala still have a Nitro Cell? Yes, he does. And he can use that to his advantage. The castle barricade will get shot down as Chala moves in from the side. He'll have to use the cover here to protect himself from peaks in the hallway. He's spotted, though. BC with a long angle there with the ACOG. Will get 1-2. One down, BC on the floor, NVK taken up. Now it's all up to Necrox. He'll find the head, and Necrox lands it onto Rampy. Space Station go down, and EG tie it up 4-4.
Almost a clutch there from Rampy, though. Even if he had gotten the kill onto this Necrox in the main lobby, it would not have mattered. I mean, the Zofia was the one who was down, so probably would have been able to withstand in that situation. Yep. So, good execution there from EG. I really like their take. Space Station fought back fiercely, but they had some players who were out of position. One thing that probably would have changed the outcome of that round is if they had made the call, hey, we're being pressured from main lobby and the windows. Everybody rotate to confront. And we would have seen a lot more potential for SSG to get the refrags, keep themselves in the match, and not have players so out of position as stock trading. Now, 4-4, and it's a bit of a draw, but Evil Geniuses have looked really good on this half. And they're going to actually bring Montaigne.
For locker CCTV? Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah. To be fair. So the reason to bring Montaigne, last time they attacked onto the basement, it was the same story that we've talked about before. You don't have a Habana, you can't open the drops, you have to use someone to shove your way into sight, or cover the defuse plant. I'm guessing the latter is the plan here from Evil Geniuses. Last time Space Station defended the basement, they all collapsed upon the fuse planter all at once, and if you had a Montaigne in front of that, wouldn't have mattered. Now, that'll be the plan for EG, but they have to get to the server first, and of course Space Station is going to try and confront that and deny it. We'll see if they're going to make it happen this time. Last time we saw the server defense from Space Station, like the actual room itself, Rampy was the one who was holding it, and he died so very easily to BC at the last minute of the round, allowing for EG to make a push. Now ultimately that push was unsuccessful, but there was no server confrontation that EG had to worry about because Rampy gave his life away.
Oh, I like the throw there for the yokai to be put up on that that wagon, because it was very difficult to find
A
it,
bomb has been
and
located.
you can set it up in a very safe position for a long time during the round. NVK though, just runs into server room and takes down Rampy.
So I was talking about how Rampy died pretty easily inside of server last time he was here, and it looks like the same thing is going to happen twice in a row. Now Young will isolate the server stairs, but BC gets Chala, who is on the roam, upstairs by electrical. And now Space Station have already lost 2 players in 1 minute. That is not good for them in this round.
Yeah, and the Thermite is set up. Well, Canadian, there he goes. He's going to open up the side. And obviously, they can use the glass in the back. But Young just sitting in front, shielding his teammates as they try to enter the site. There's no C4s. There's a minute 52, and all you have are gas canisters. Yeah, good luck holding on to that.
I really like that Canadian's going to be going for the site drop down here. He can only open up 2 things. That wall right server, which he has to open up. He doesn't really have a choice. And 1 drop down. And he goes for the one over the site. That's going to give you the best denial for a potential rush. And the rush is going to be what's going to happen from Space Station. They will eventually lose their yokai drones and gas canisters because, as you said, they have to delay for so much time. There's not enough utility to do that.
They even spot the Maestro on the stairs. Now the call will come in from BC. You see the Maestro rotating around. BC will get the spot, cannot get the shots just yet. There's a switch over to the Mark 14. A Redeemer actually sticks it. BC is now down on the floor. Thinking Nate gets one on NVK. Gonna use the yokai to disrupt Young, as of course when you're hit by the yokai, you have to drop that shield as the Monty, and it'll expose the teammates that are sitting behind you. They're scanning around here to find the Echo yokai, as Shuttle will lose it. You're gonna be able to stick that diffuser in the back. One more gas canister available as Canadian goes in for that plant. 40 seconds left on the clock. Shuttle will get one. Redeemer with the second. And it's now all up to Necrox to hold it from the top as the diffuser has been set. 3v1. Necrox with the 1-tap. Thinking Nate will fall down to the floor. They'll try to stick it here as Shuttle watches the angle. Necrox drops on in as the defender from Space Station win the round. They disabled the diffuser that was so well set by EG, and we're like, good luck holding it. Yeah. What was that? Space Station now on match point, and they guarantee a maximum of 1 point going the way of EG.
They lost their players who were planting, and that's really what it comes down to. There was so little manpower due to a poor flank hold by BC. And that's the type of round right there where evil geniuses are absolutely kicking themselves. I can feel their unease after that round loss. They had full control. They had the roamers locked down. They knew where the roamers were coming from. They read the late flank. They lost to the late flank. And then they lost to the very little utility that the defenders had to deny the defuse plant.
With gas canisters.
And gas canisters and yokai drones, and that's it. And you know, the Evil Eye was not in a position to deny the defuse plant. But all the same, EG still lost the round. That is a round you really should not lose.
That's mistakes from EG, but also big praise to Space Station on that round. That should be an unwinnable situation, yet they somehow make it through.
Another thing, we had the Glass. Because there was so little manpower, the Glass was the one who went for a flank hold. Who went up into open area instead of the Thermite or something, or any other operator that would have been available had they not died earlier in the round. And that's the problem. That's the operator you want to stay in server behind cover of smoke to deny a retake, and they just didn't have that operator. And that's another thing I didn't even get to talk about earlier. Evil Geniuses brought Glass. They haven't been bringing a whole lot of Glass, but they started doing it because it was working so well for Space Station when they were attacking. So I don't know. There was so much in EG's corner for them to lose that.
Maybe this is today's upset. Of course, even Noble versus Rogue could have gone for a tie, looking at how Noble brought it back. So Space Station, we said, they are no slouch of a team. You cannot let your guard down for even 1 second. You know what? That's exactly what happened to EG. They got so close to putting that round on the board.
Yeah, of course, the big thing here is that EG now cannot get 3 points for this match. Even if they win this round, it's just going to be 1 point for each team, which means that EG is not going to be able to secure that first place spot or anything alongside it. They're probably not going to move very far up in the rankings off of this match, no matter what. We still have SK who will be playing after this one, but this is the final 2 minutes of this round, and there's still potential for EG to get a single point, and it's better than nothing.
All right, we'll see how EG claw their way into this, and they start off by bringing Young and the Blackbeard.
So Young is an exceptional Blackbeard, and with Blackbeard in the position he is now, he's a little bit more maneuverable, a lot more versatile, and I think people have actually been really enjoying playing him more, but at the same time, it's a convenience of life upgrade and a viability downgrade in some ways. So like, even 10 HP off your shield is going to hurt you when you're repelling on a window on Conflict, for example. But on Bank, I think this is just going to be a straight-up better Blackbeard as compared to the one we had from the previous patch.
But of course, because you can maneuver around and put yourself in better positions.
Oh, what though? You can't allow Necrox to be killed, and then no immediate refrag. Young loses a shield and a teammate, and the worst teammate possible, Thermite to boot. Redeemer gets a C4 onto Canadian. Space Station Gaming are on a rally right now, absolutely tearing through Evil Geniuses, and it doesn't look like there's anything they can do in this round as they come down to the last 40 seconds.
BC looking through here in the Zofia. The main line, Shala with the run out, takes down NVK, running back into the open area. Young will connect the shuttle. Gets one on BC. Last alive is Young from Evil Geniuses versus the 4. Space Station coming into their own as Young will get spotted and taken down. Chala will connect Space Station with the upset of the night. Will go toe-to-toe against the big boys of EG, and that is the victory. 6-4. The way of Space Station. They blast off into a higher ranking in that standings page. EG unable to close it out.
That was... well, that was something. That was something, Gassan. I don't really... You just don't expect that to happen.
No.
First of all, major props to Space Station. A huge upset, really a round of applause for them. They deserve it. Second, Evil Geniuses, they didn't play amazingly poorly. And that's worth noting. They threw some